Hello and welcome to another episode of Scouser Tommies on Anfield Index. I'm Jim Boardman and I'm with Jay Reid, and we're recording this a couple of days after Everton beat Liverpool in the Derby. Oh, hang on. No, sorry, let me just check. Everton drew with Liverpool in the Derby, but the celebrations and all the rest of it, you'd think they'd won. You'd think they'd won it. I mean, I'll be honest, I think as a Liverpool fan, it felt like we'd lost it because right up to the very last second of extended injury time and all the rest of it, Liverpool were ahead. Hadn't been a great game in lots of ways, even though the neutrals will love it. It's one of those kind of games. Typical Derby, loads of controversy, all the rest of it. But it did end 2-2. Liverpool did go a point further away from everyone. And so now, without games in hand, Liverpool are 7 points clear at the top. A bad place to be in, really, but it did feel like a disappointment at the end. And I don't know how much of that was down to us. I think, yeah, there's definitely stuff we can improve on as a team. I'm sure that there's plenty of stuff that Arnie and his men would have been, and his pals would have been discussing in the dressing room and at the training ground in the days that followed about things that can change. But I think I'm not wanting to sound like a bitter kind of person that you get in this city. I feel like the referee had a lot to do with it as well. But Jay, we were just talking before we came on air, and yeah, from what you've heard and what you've been hearing, and it's no surprise, is it? Because I'm thinking, let's not go mad about the referee too much because we'll sound like we're Evertonians, sound like Blues. But then again, think, well, it needs to be said. Meanwhile, they've got absolutely no problem in just sticking to their default position, which is every referee's a bad one and hates them.
Yeah, I was very shocked to discover, obviously, after the Everton masterclass, of sitting back and soaking up and hitting us on set pieces and a late counter, sort of a counter attack-ish, and kitchen sink at the wall. The referee robbed them, apparently. Was much to my surprise, and I know. And I sought answers, and the only, the main answer was, he let you get away with kicking us. Please give me that one, because we apparently, when I threw the stat back that we had 2/3 of the ball, yet we had, 20 fouls given against us compared to their 8. The answer was, well, you had the ball your own half, so of course you had the possession. Right, so yeah, but explain how we committed the fouls if we had the ball. Let's just take the actual golden moment of it all is Mo Salah running free and gets absolutely hacked down on about the 93rd minute or something like that. Likelihood is, we were milking the clock, as any good team in the league would do. See Jordan Pickford for that, milking the clock at 25 minutes in at Anfield one season when it was 0-0. But, there's a time to milk the clock, and we were doing it. And had we have been given that free kick, which was a blatant foul, the chances are we would have milked the clock a bit, took a free kick, possibly have scored, possibly have, just ran a minute or so off the clock, as they say. And then, had it have gone out for a goal kick or a corner or something, again, more time runs off the clock and the game probably would have petered out. As it transpired, Michael Oliver was hell-bent on giving Everton just one more chance. And, to the credit, they took it, and I'll hold my hands up as an honest red and say, we didn't play well. We didn't really deserve much from the game. Had we got away with a victory, we would have been laughing in terms of, we've got out of there with a victory that we probably didn't deserve, in all honesty. So in the grand scheme and context of the game, a draw is an honest result. However, they were hugely aided and abetted by the referee. Yet to hear the fact that they think the referee was an injustice to them is laughable. When you take it all, strip it all back, if you were to ask someone who didn't have any emotional attachment to Liverpool or Everton, had no full investment in the outcome of that game, and we're assessing the referee and say, is that a foul? Yes or no? Is that a foul? Yes or no? I think there'd be a large proportion of decisions where you go, he's got that one wrong. He's got that one wrong. He should have done this differently. He didn't play many advantages in our favour. There was multiple fouls. Another one that obviously springs to mind is, Ghana Gay on a yellow card. pulling back Gakpo. Gakpo manages to get away from him in the end, but then the break breaks down within, a few yards, no advantage played, and, we don't get pulled back for a foul, because if it's pulled back for a foul, it's a yellow card and he's got to send the lad off. But Mickey Oliver doesn't do that. And they're just a couple of examples. Obviously, the Everton example is Bradley shouldn't have been on the pitch. Well, arguably, you could say he was heated enough for the battle, but so was many of their players. He got a needless, stupid yellow card that he'll learn from. When if the other fella at the left back position was one to be set an example, well, he sets a poor one in himself, getting a poor yellow card. They targeted Conor Bradley then, and they played on the lad that he was passionate and really wanted to be up for the fight and play on the edge. And, Decore flinging himself to the ground as a 6'3" fella. When Bradley went there and to try and get him sent off, Arnie Slot was wise to that and thought, well, I'll evade any sort of temptation from Michael Oliver to fall into that trap and remove him to the situation. However, they all felt that was the injustice, that we should have had 10 men. But yeah, it's their cup final, as Virgil rightly said, which has seemingly rattled them a lot. But it was. Let's all not kid ourselves. They've got nothing to play for this season. They're out of the trophies. 30 years and counting. And all that.
So yeah, they saw the 30 balloon.
Yeah, I was actually told, I don't know, I think I mentioned it last week. I don't know if it was on the pod or off the podcast to yourself, about the big banner that was due to be unveiled. The steward stopped it.
I ain't surprised.
I've got obviously Evertonian friends who were at the game, and they said, "What was your banner that you was trying to get out?" The steward wouldn't let them do it. And I told them, I said, well, that's not offensive in any way. I was like, no, but they wouldn't let us do it because it was going to go from the top tier to the bottom tier, and they deem it a safety hazard apparently. So yeah, that was what the stewards were stopping. It weren't offensive in any way. We just wanted to thank them for the memories of the good times that we had there. But obviously there was a few bad ones, and the way that game ended, it does feel like a bad one in the end. But I suppose, in the big grand scheme of it all, we've gone there. It was a tricky game that, the likes of Arsenal and whatever would have looked at us and thought, that's where they're dropping points. Yes, we did. But it was our game in hand, and we maybe just gained a point, on them in the race for the title. We extended our lead only by a little bit, but we're now level pegging. But in effect, it's an extra point in our favour, and it's 3 games that we've now got to drop points in rather than 2 for them to catch us. So, not a great point, but not a bad point to probably gain when you take out the context of the actual game in reality and the performance that we put in on the night that wasn't good enough at all.
No, I mean, I think I was thinking yourself, like the Plymouth game just before that, we put out a really sort of very weak squad. I mean, there wasn't really anything on the bench to sort of look to, and I'm not saying there's anything necessarily wrong with that, because we've got some, it's now freed up some space in the calendar for us. We're out of the cup, and it was still a team that could have won that. I mean, it was basically one penalty, wasn't it? That was a moment of madness from Harvey that he probably wouldn't do again. Although he's kind of saying it was a natural way to jump. It's just one of those. It's that bit of the handball rule that's kind of like, it feels unfair on the person who suffers from it, but that's the rule. And if that's the way it goes, and if you're unlucky, you're unlucky. That's just how it is. That's what happens now with handballs. We just didn't seem to have the right players about us to just put in a response and do what we've normally done this season. But then my worry then was there was like still a bit of a hangover from that, because, although they'll start complaining if you say things like small club and stuff like that, going to Goodison is the same kind of feeling as going to Plymouth in an FA Cup match. It's kind of, it's not about what that means. I mean, Plymouth weren't thinking, great, we're going to win the cup by beating us. They're thinking, great, we've beaten we've got this huge scalp, we're through to the next round. This is something we'll never forget. These great big clubs come to us and we've done that to them. And without being horrible to them too much, Everton have that. That's the vibe they give off. We're just, it's such a huge game for them, and I get it. I mean, it's the Derby; it's a huge game for all of us. But the way they celebrated at the end shows what it means to them. And this is, I don't know, it feels like the two games being close together like that, there was almost still like a hangover from that, and maybe like a sort of feeling of, oh God, this is our weak thing, this is our sort of weakness. Playing teams like this in places like this, we're going to struggle, and I don't know, it just felt like we weren't ready for it.
All right, the Reds, it's Jack here, and that was a clip from one of Anfield Index's audio podcasts. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you do like, share and subscribe to keep up to date on all things LFC. We record around 100 audio podcasts every month, with our shows featuring match-going fans, top journalists, professional analysts and even Liverpool legends along the way, with the great Dane himself, Jan Molby, joining us every single week. If you want to listen to all our podcasts for free, head over to anfieldindex.com/podcasts. Our audio shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Anfield Index. Or if you prefer to listen to all our podcasts in full and without any ads, why not head over to AI Pro today to check it out now at anfieldindexpro.com. If you want to get involved in the great growing community of Liverpool fans, check out the Anfield Index Discord. The link is in the description. Do get involved with that, from Reds around every corner of the globe. For now, Reds, hope you enjoyed this video.